I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Carden, and this week I'm going to share with you how to close marketing and sales gaps that you might have in your business that is keeping you from building your revenue, getting more profitability in your business, and getting all the clients and customers you want. So let's dive in. It's not very often that I see businesses that aren't growing because they have a breakdown in one of these three areas that I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to call these the 3 Ps that are gaps in marketing and sales for most coaches, consultants, and professional service entrepreneurs. So the first P is your positioning. Your positioning in the market will either attract and influence people or it will lose people. And here's the crazy thing. You have 3 seconds when someone comes across you and your business and your brand to either attract and influence them as a buyer or lose them. So you need strong positioning. Now, I've done a lot of YouTube videos and trainings around positioning, and you certainly can go check a lot of those out. But positioning is the outside perception that people have of you, of what you do, of your brand. And if it is not strong, you will miss out on not only more business, but even opportunities to get yourself in front of other people. So you want to strengthen that positioning. Now, here's the crazy thing. You have 3 seconds. So here is what has to happen in 3 seconds to either attract and influence them or lose them. Are you ready? Are you taking notes? I'm going to go through these quickly. They have to be able to see in 3 seconds who you are, what you do, how you help, who you help. They have to be able to see how you're different from your competition and why they should buy from you over your competition. And they have to be able to see that you're credible and trustworthy. And even if you are the Lamborghini or the cheap used car. Yes, all of this in 3 seconds. This is strong positioning. So how's your positioning? Is it dialed in? If I Google you, what will I see? Will I see that you do multiple things and I have no clue what you do? Or will I see that you look like a true expert and an authority in your niche? You need to look like an expert and an authority that's credible and trustworthy. And you have to be different from your competition. You have to stand out so that people will be influenced to want to buy from you. All right, so positioning is gap number 1. Strengthen that positioning. All right, gap number 2, and the second P is pipeline. Do you have a pipeline that stays full? How many leads are you generating in your business? Do you have consistent lead flow and consistently people booking on your calendar, showing up in your inbox, or emailing you to want to talk to you about your services? If not, you have a pipeline problem. And what does this mean? It means you don't have a great marketing system. You need a marketing system that is predictable, and it has to be consistently feeding your business high quality leads. Think about this. If your lead flow dries up, you will not be able to keep growing. Now, a lot of coaches and consultants and professionals, they depend on referrals. And who does not love a good referral? I love referrals, right? People are practically sold when they come to you. But here's the thing. Referrals are not predictable. You don't have control over whether or not people send you referrals. Even if you have a referral system in place, you're still putting the fate of your business in other people's hands. You're depending on other people to grow your business for you. This is not the way I want to build a business. I like to have a lot more control over it. So you need a marketing system that you can run consistently, that is consistently feeding your business. And I suggest that you start with one. Get one great marketing system working, keep it going, keep it generating leads, and then you can always add on another marketing system. Or, like I help my clients do, we kind of work 3 angles and they all work the same way to bring in leads to their business. So for example, the speaking or podcasting, virtual speaking is one of the ways that my clients generate leads. And when they do that, they fill workshops and they get people to book on their calendar, but they have a consistent process in place and system that will keep that going for them. It's not go out and do something and then not do it again for a long time. We put a system in place that they can predictably use so that they don't have to worry about when they're going to get their next call booked or how they're going to keep getting clients. So do you have this in your business? If you don't, you have a weak pipeline and you need to fix your marketing system. It's a gap that's keeping you stuck. All right, gap number 3 is your process for sales. So the third P is your process for sales. And I want you to know that sales is something that if you don't have this really dialed in, you're going to end up losing sales or having to be pushy or having to overcome a lot of objections. When your positioning is strong and then you have a great marketing system that's bringing the right people to you, well, then your sales can actually become simple. But it's still a process, and there are 3 parts. So I want to break down each part so that, again, you can see if you have a gap or a breakdown in any one of these areas. So the first thing is in your before the sale phase, this is what I like to call your opportunity phase. This is when people are giving you the opportunity to basically sell to them. Now, here's the thing. You need to be qualifying people before you get into a conversation with them, because you can't sell to people with no money, people who aren't serious, people who aren't ready for you. You can't sell to them. And this is why a lot of times pushy, slimy tactics don't work. Even if you convinced people to buy, they're not going to stick. They're not going to stay. They're going to have buyer's remorse. They're probably going to ask for a refund. You don't want those people, right? So you want to make sure that you're qualifying people before you're taking that time with them. And I love an application process, especially for coaches and consultants, professional service entrepreneurs. An application process works great. This way you can ask the questions that you need to ask to determine if they are the right fit for you and if it looks like it's going to be a good fit for you to work together. The other thing I love is that it prepares the prospect for your call. It also prepares you for the call. So you're not just getting on a call blind, like a blind date, and you have no idea what you're getting on a call with this person about. Well, who wants that, right? That doesn't make it very comfortable. And so when you have a great application process in place, you can ensure that you are getting on a call or getting into a conversation with someone who is an eager buyer and they're in a place financially even to afford your services. Now, they may not be exactly sure what your pricing is and all of that, but if you ask the right questions and you ask them in the right way, then you will have a fairly good idea if they can find the money or if they have some sort of resources. So you may not know 100%, but I will tell you this. If you get this in place, your closing ratio will be so much higher. You'll close at very high rates and very few people will walk away. All right, so that's the before phase, the opportunity phase of your process for sales. Now, there's also the during phase. This is when you're actually in the conversation. Now, personally, I want my conversations to be as easy as having coffee with a friend. And if you do everything I've talked about up to this point, this is exactly how your conversations can be. You'll already have an eager buyer. You'll already have someone who is interested in knowing what it is like to work with you. And they just want to see if you can, in fact, help them and how you can help them. And then what does it look like and what would the investment be? Well, when you are sitting in a conversation like this, it can be simple. Now, I like people to think about themselves as a doctor diagnosing a patient. When you get into that conversation, number one, you're building a rapport with them. I always say you want to make a new friend, right? And when you're having coffee with a friend, it's enjoyable and it's fun. And that's really the way you want your conversations to be when people are in front of you, when a prospect is in front of you. You really just want to find out more about their needs and think about it like a doctor, right? If you go into the doctor because you've been sick for a couple of weeks, they don't just say, and you say, oh, I've been sick for a couple of weeks. I can't seem to get over this. They don't say, great, let me just write you a prescription. That doesn't happen. They dig in and they find out what's been going on. Well, how long have you been sick? And how long have you not been sleeping? And have you had a fever? And when did that start? And they go on and on and on because they want to be able to diagnose you properly and give you the right prescription. Well, you're doing the same thing when you're in front of a prospect. You want to be able to diagnose their problem properly and what they're really trying to accomplish so that you can make them the right offer. When you make the right offer to people, they will buy. And this is one thing that people just don't seem to understand. So you want your conversations to be super easy. Just as easy as having coffee with a friend. And here's the thing, even if they don't buy, you want them to leave feeling really great about that conversation. And they can become a new fan, a new follower. You want to keep them in your ecosystem in some way. And they can become a new friend and maybe even potentially a buyer down the road. Maybe the timing just wasn't right or wasn't what they thought it would be. So there's reasons why people don't buy, but I will tell you that when you dial in this process that I'm talking about, you will have more closed sales and people will be super excited to work with you and get started with you. So you have the before phase, the opportunity phase, you have the during phase, and I want you to know the during phase is the money phase. This is where the money is made. Now, very quickly, I just want to talk about proposals because if you are doing proposals at all in your business, you may not even need to, quite honestly, if you structured things in the right way. I help a lot of my clients eliminate them completely because they are time consuming, right? But if you are doing proposals, you want to make sure that you are getting everything that you need in that during phase, in that money phase, that you're getting all the questions answered and everything that you need to know to write that proposal. Now, here's the thing. The sale is closed in the during phase. Do not use proposals to close sales. Proposals are written to give people options because they've already said yes and you know that you can come in their budget. And so then you just want to talk about the different options that you have available with them. Don't email proposals. Get back into a conversation or into a meeting or on a call with that person so they can choose which option they want and then get their signature. That's how proposals should be used. Or proposals are used to just detail the conversation, what you talked about, and what they are actually buying so that they just have a visual of what it is they're buying. This is how proposals should be used, and a lot of people use them in the wrong way. They email them, they write them, they spend lots of time writing them. And then they email them and they go into the black hole of email. And then they're chasing the clients to try to figure out if they can close this client. That's not the best way to run your business. So if you are doing that, you have a gap in your process for sales. Okay, so that's the money phase. The money is made during the sales conversation or during that meeting. Then you have the after phase, and I like to call this the retention phase. Because here's the thing, if you are pushing people into that sale or you're overcoming a lot of objections and then you're kind of talking them into buying, you aren't going to retain them. And so I like to say the follow-up phase is where you actually retain them. You retain the money, you retain the client. This is where, or you retain them as a lead or a fan or a follower or a friend. You retain them in some way. So this is the retention phase. And if you don't have a strong retention phase, the after phase, or if you do sell to the client and then you don't onboard them quickly or you don't take care of them quickly, they are going to go looking somewhere else because they're going to have the idea, what did I buy here? This person's not really treating me like someone who just bought from them. And a lot of sales, believe it or not, are actually lost in the after phase because people don't get on it and they don't get that client or that customer taken care of as quickly as possible so that they feel really great about what they bought. So this is important. Don't have this gap in your business. And then do you have a process where you can continue to nurture those people until maybe they do turn into a buyer? So let me just reiterate one more time the gaps that you can close in your marketing and sales so that you can build more revenue, have more profitability so you're not wasting money in marketing or losing business in your sales, and you can get all the clients and customers you want by dialing these things in. By the way, if you want help with these things, make sure you book a call with me at acarden.com, and I'm happy to talk to you about what you're doing in your business, and we can take a look at where those gaps are and get those closed for you so you can have a lot more success. All right, so the 3 P's again were positioning, pipeline, and your process for sales. And remember, in the process for sales, there were 3 different phases. You need all of these working like a well-oiled machine. And when you do, you'll close more sales, you'll make a lot more money, and not only that, you'll have a lot more fun in your business and you'll love sales. You'll love actually getting on calls or getting into meetings with people. Whether they buy or not, you'll make a new friend. So I hope you found this valuable. I would love to hear your thoughts. By the way, if you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, make sure you do it by clicking the subscribe and the notification bell right now, because every week I release a new show. You have an amazing day. God bless you. Bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to go check out a free training that I have at expertinu.us. It is a training that I have on how you can get ultra premium dream clients, scale your business, get more freedom, and really simplify your business and multiply your money. So go check that out. And again, that is expertinu.us. I want to thank you for being here with me this week. I hope you found massive value. Please always leave a comment, feedback, or a question. We check them all. And I want you to go rock your business and make sure you join us again next week. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.